Harmonizers, welcome to this video, the big day where the vet is coming. So we're going to try to get our little man into the barn. So yesterday's video on day 3, I think it was, I did do a little bit more than what I showed you guys in the video. I did actually do a little bit of leading him out of the gate and back in, but then my fingers were starting to feel like they were going to fall off from the cold. So I left it on a good note, plus Evelyn needed to be fed. So today I've got Riley with me and she's going to be helping. And basically what she's going to do that's going to kind of speed the process up is she is going to kind of walk behind the Mustang at a distance, and then that will just encourage him to walk forward more. Whereas when I was doing my leading before and having to go in and out of the gate, basically it was taking a really long time because like he goes like really slowly and then like stops and kind of waits a little bit. But I'm not using any type of driving pressure. Riley's not going to have any type of a stick or whip or flag or bag or anything like that. She's simply going to just walk behind him, or if she needs to click a little bit with her voice. I think a lot of times people make mistakes with horses when they add too much energy or they try to rush things. So even though we want to get him into the barn today, we're not going to add any extra type of pressure to him. We want to make it clear that we want him to go forward, but we're not going to be in any means rushing. We still have tons of time before the vet gets here, so we've set ourselves up for success that way. Plus there's other horses he can work when he gets here, so if the Mustang's not fully ready or settled. Today's weather is I think it was -24 when I looked at it this morning, and -21. I think it warmed up to -21. Ooh, yay! Which normally we don't have days like this until January, and most of them are in February, so it's a little bit odd that we have this in December. I know one of you guys made a snarky comment about, she's a mean person, why would she give herself a timeline and bring a horse here when you've got to get a blanket on it and like you're rushed in that type of way. Normally December in Canada is not this bad. December in Canada, it's not even a guarantee that we have snow for Christmas. It's really up in the air. Sometimes we still get days that are above freezing, and even if we get below freezing, it's usually not awful. -21 in December here is really, really weird for us. It probably has broken some type of record. These days are usually reserved for the awful months of January and February that I am escaping to Florida for. So hopefully that addresses that a little bit. And of course, to help him with staying warm, he does have hay 24/7, which is super important when you've got a horse that you need to keep warm. I've been reading through all of your name ideas, and they are super duper awesome name ideas. And I might reveal a name at the end of this video, or I might wait until the next one, because I kind of feel like if I take off his number tag while he's tranquilized, that's a little bit like cheating. So we'll see how long it takes to get him into the barn. And I might do that today in this video, or I might save it until tomorrow. But super awesome name ideas. I loved reading all of them, and you guys came up with a lot of good ones. So it definitely made it tough on me for choosing. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to go in and get my little fella, and then Riley's going to be walking behind. So I guess if you want.
Alright, so here I go in to catch my little guy, and I'm just going to show you what he's like to catch. And the hardest part about this for him right now is really just that Riley is filming, because he is mostly nervous of people other than me. And we're definitely going to see that coming up in the footage that I'm going to be showing you guys. It definitely gets pretty entertaining, is all I'll say for now. And but you can see he's looking at me, he's aware of what I want, and you can see he takes a couple little steps towards me, little tiny startle there, but overall, like he's pretty eager to see what I have to offer, and not scared of me there. Taking the food, you can see that that's all going really well. And so I'm going to get another little bit of hay here and head back over. And this is pretty big. Normally when I film him, I prop the phone up on a post or on like one of the fence boards there, like what you can see in the background, the fence and the rails. And so having a person kind of right at the gate is potentially a lot of pressure for him. He's not used to that. So the fact that he's kind of sticking there is working pretty well for us. You can see I'm giving him some rubs on his neck. I gave him a couple little pinches on his neck too when I was rubbing him, just to kind of prep him for what is to come with the needles up ahead. So now what we're going to do is get this gate open, and Riley came in and she went to that back fence that you guys saw from the previous angle, and then that way now the gate is free for me to go through. So you can see that he's mostly worried about what's Riley doing? Why is she standing there? Why is she filming us right now? And he's wanting to keep an eye on her. He doesn't know what she's all about, doesn't want to take his eyes off of her. So I'm just politely nudging him, putting some pressure on the rope. And watching this, I'm thinking, Lindsay, why didn't you put a rope halter on him, or like one of the fusion halters that has rope behind the ears? Because when you use a nylon halter like what I'm doing here, I'm like, it's used as a halter that stays comfortable on the horse out in the field, and they're good for like cross ties and things like that. But in terms of pressure release, like what I'm doing there, where I'm asking him to give to the pressure, these halters are designed to be super comfortable and have the horses wear them, and they're designed to distribute the pressure more evenly. So they're super comfortable, and when they pull back on you, there is not quite the same deterrent as if you're using something with rope behind the ears. Because if they pull on you with rope behind the ears, they'll actually kind of go, oh, like that's uncomfortable. I don't like that. And it encourages them not to do that. So I'm not really sure why I didn't swap him to a fusion halter then. But anyways, that's how I was training him. And so right now I'm just giving him a few moments to eat his little bit of hay, and then he gets to come forward and we're going to go through the gate. So that part's going well. So I'm pretty happy with that he just went right through the gate there. I'm going to give him another little bite of hay. When we were working on this on our previous session, that's basically what I did, is I worked on going in and out from just kind of where you see me there and back. That was the piece that I didn't have filmed for you guys, which I apologize. Just didn't realize how short that session was going to get cut. And so that's all we ended up getting achieved. So every kind of piece beyond this is going to be new for him. And that could be scary for him. It's going to be all new stuff. So I'm letting him really eat his hay there and just kind of chill out for a little bit, make sure he's nice and comfortable. The most important thing as we're going forward here is I want him to be engaged with me. You can see he's kind of sniffing me there a little bit. And so I give him a long pause there. And then we're going to work our way coming forward. And we're going to leave the gate open to his field. So that way, if he tries to run back to his field at any point as we try to move forward here, then that will be a possibility for him. That's super important. And right now that's like his little safe spot. So here he kind of got stuck a little bit. And so I just asked Riley to come forward a little bit. And you can see that just her getting that close caused him to want to step forward. And I'm not having her shoe her hands or do anything like that. Just simply her standing there is making him want to go forward. And I'm not having her follow closely. I'm having her stay really far back. You can see that she's really far. And then here he catches sight of the other horses and says, "Peace out, man. I'm going to go see those other ponies over there." And I'm like, well, I guess I'm letting go of the rope. I could have maybe held on to it and like been dragged over there. But I thought, you know what, let's go through here and then let's shut these gates. So that way, if he tries to run back to his other pen, at least we won't be running back and forth between the pens, because that would kind of suck. The way my farm is kind of designed is it's our fencing designer or our fencing builder, he calls it Partridge Gate Hill. My actual farm is called Partridge Horse Hill, but he calls it Partridge Gate Hill because there's so many series of gates that we can cordon off different spots. And I do that mostly for grazing pastures in the summertime to let us rotate on the grass. But it also comes super handy for this, where now I could shut those extra gates there. So it's super important, even though stuff like this happens, that I don't walk over and get mad at him and give him a yank on the halter or something like that, because it's been there, done that. It's over. He wouldn't know what it is that he's done at this point in time, and all that would do is potentially make him scared of me. So there's zero purpose in doing that. You can see a whole bunch of my ponies there are super excited to see who this new little horse is on the other side. And he will eventually get to go out with some of my other horses. I have a couple different fields that I have my guys turned out into. And the horses that are all along the fence, that's my thoroughbred field. My thoroughbred field, although Clyde is in there with them. That's Clyde, my dark horse there. So just as all this happening, my blanket repair lady came to drop off some blankets. And so we just rotated the camera to show you guys that. And of course, he's nervous of new people. So he's like, what are they doing? So he's a little bit like vehicles drive up over there. People can go that way. And there's other horses over here. And I'd kind of like to just to hang out with those other horses there. There's a bunch of nice little ponies on the other side. The black one is Clyde. And then that gray that's looking over the fence, I'm pretty sure that's Neymar, who was Franny's 2019 thoroughbred, who finished 9th in the show jumpers, which is pretty darned amazing because there's like 100 people who show in show jumpers at the makeover. And I can't see the little faces. I can see that's Clyde looking over the fence there, the big black one. And I can't tell, I think that's Kaibu, maybe beside Clyde. I'm not sure who's, I think it's Peanut's Nose, the other one. Anyways, so you can see that my little Mustang is pretty insistent that he doesn't need to leave the other horses. So I'm nudging him and I'm suggesting, and you'll see that I'm trying to put kind of rhythm in the rope. There we go, good job. And then when he does come forward, I give him slack in the rope. And the reason why I try not to just pull and hold, I'll kind of experiment a little bit. Sometimes if I just pull and hold, they get bracy. Now my blanket repair lady is leaving. So part of it is he doesn't want to leave the other horses. He instantly bonded with them. I mean, they seriously became best friends in the moment that they were over there. I'm just kidding. I'm being a little bit sarcastic. And then part of it is he's like, well, I don't want to go any closer to that weird lady that's over there. Why would I want to go closer to her? So when he does come a little bit closer, I give him slack in the rope. And sometimes I'm giving him positive reinforcement and sometimes I'm not. It just kind of depends on, like here, he's not trying really. So I'm waiting for him to like take a good step forward and then I'll give him some positive reinforcement. But he has to actually make some progress. So here you can see he's pretty dead set that he's going to get his way back to those other horses. You can see he's got his head up. I'm trying to be polite about nudging on him. Like clearly I'm not pulling him too hard because I've only got one hand on the rope, not two. Of course, he takes advantage of that and runs off around the corner. And I ended up having to let go and he's running around and it's all crazy bananas and I just get out of his way. Like you can see I didn't do anything scary towards him whatsoever. And he slips and falls on the snow, which kind of actually is in my favor a little bit. Not that I want my horse to get hurt. I'm not saying that. But the fact that he fell over from running away from me is kind of like, you know what? Look, if you had just stuck with me and stayed calm, all would be good. And do you notice that you're actually closer to the barn than when you ran away from me? So you actually took yourself closer to where I was trying to get you to go than when you were silly face and ran away from me and went back to the other ponies. And I held the bucket and you can see when I went over into the corner and followed him, like I wasn't flapping my arms at him or anything like that. I wasn't doing anything menacing towards him. I just kind of got out of his way. And then now that he came to a stop, I just come over and it's like, you know what, bud? You did something stupid. It's all good. And we're just going to move forward from here. And I'm going to give you a little stroke on your neck and it's not the end of the world. And we can just carry on. Because what I need him to get over is if he does something that I perceive as bad or something that I don't want him to freak out and have more anxiety because that happens. It's kind of like let's say, I don't know, your mom asks you to clean your room and you don't clean your room. what I really like is that when mom steps into the room, that you just go and clean your room and you get the job done. What I don't want to happen is that you're so anxious about, is mom going to spank me or is mom going to punish me, that you start like sweating buckets and freaking out and thinking about how you're going to run away and how you're going to defend yourself, rather than just thinking, better go just clean my room, because that's what she wants. So that's what I'm trying to avoid in this situation here. So you can see I'm taking my time. I kind of go forward a little bit towards the barn. I ask him to take a couple steps or so. And you can see, for the most part, I'm just putting some pressure. And then when he comes forward, I'm releasing. And I want him to come off of that pressure before, like, make a good effort before he gets that positive reinforcement. And he also gets that release in that rope. So I like using positive reinforcement too, because you end up with like degrees of rewards. It's like sometimes you're going to earn the hay and sometimes you don't earn the hay. And you have to really try for it. And this is a really nice stretch here. He walks really nicely up for me, pretty darn close to the barn there. And I want to make sure I stop and I reward him and we breathe, that I don't try to take him all the way up. So this part actually goes pretty darn well. It just takes a little bit of time. So because it's already a super long video, I cut forward a little bit to this part here where you can see, did you see the truck pull in on the side there? That's my vet arriving for the appointment. And you can see that my horse's bum is like just barely going into the barn. In fact, he's very slowly making his way in. And it just so happens that it's right when my vet's arriving. And so I'm giving my horse time to think. And while this is happening, you can imagine my vet and the assistant are parking and getting their stuff together. And they're getting ready to go inside the barn. Oh, look, my Mustang just goes inside the barn. For the first time ever, goes inside the barn. The Mustang that is scared of new people, where the vet has just parked their vehicle and is about to come into the barn at any moment. So as you can imagine, something entertaining is about to happen very, very shortly, because even though he's in the barn, we can't just like walk into a stall, because it's like a slow process, right? Just like getting into the barn, how I went really slowly and carefully and rewarded him along the way. And so I'm kind of doing the same thing in the barn until he decides, peace out, the vet came in the barn. Who is that scary vet? And he says, no, thank you. I'm not going to have any part of that, and just runs away. So you can imagine what's going through my head right now. It's like, are you serious? Like, I just got you in the barn for the first time and you literally had to open the door and come in, and it was just horrible timing. It's not their fault. I'm not blaming the vet's fault. I'm not blaming my Mustang's fault. It's just really crappy timing, and sometimes that happens. So I just get my rope and I'm like, all right, we're gonna do this again. So we head back over to the door, and then some more fun is going to happen in a second here. So I'm asking him to come over to the barn door again. He's pretty sure he doesn't want to. And then that's my vet that you can see walking around the back. He's like, oh, well, since I can't go through the front door, I'm going to come around the back and see what's going on there. And I'm not blaming my vet. He's just walking around and he's talking to me. He doesn't realize how sensitive this horse is. Like, he's probably thinking like, how are you going to get a needle into this horse's neck when like if it can't handle this? So you can see he just innocently walks around, and then my Mustang's like, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. Peace out. And so I'm like, oh, frick, can't hold that. So I look back at my vet and I'm like, yeah, maybe just give me a minute. Give me a little bit of space. My vet's like, oh, I can help. And I'm like, maybe don't. So I get my Mustang and I come back over here. I just cut the footage for you just because it's a long video, and I got him back over to that point. And this time you can see I managed to hold on to the rope when he was like, no, I don't think I want to go in that scary barn. And that's my vet who went into the outhouse there. I just asked him to stay on that side and bring him over to the barn again. You can see he stops and he kind of checks it out a little bit. I'm like, that's okay. We can take our time and we can breathe. And this is okay. And now my vet knows what's going on and he's on board. And his vet assistant knows not to come into the barn until I give the okay. So unfortunately, he was spooked by the door opening on the other side when we went in. And so now, like the first time we went in, it was pretty nonchalant. He was like, I was just patient and he came in. And this time I have to be a little bit more insistent. You can see he protested a little bit and then he does go in. And so that's all good. So then Riley comes forward and she shuts the door a little bit. And I didn't want her to come into the barn because I didn't want to make it scary for him. So I just had her kind of film from the outside, creepily poking her head in. And when you can see, I take him into the stall down at the end. There was a couple other empty stalls too, but I thought that was the easier one for him to go into. And you can see I've got other ponies already in the barn. They're ready for the vet, but also makes it easy for him, or easier. And then this is me giving the needle. So we gave him a little bit of time to just settle in. We did some vaccines for the other horses first. And then the first needle I give is a tranquilizer. And that's because in the event that he doesn't like this, then at least I have a tranquilizer into him and we should be able to get the other stuff done. So I rub, I pinch, I put it in, and you can see I poke. And it's pretty nonchalant. Like he kind of looks at me like, what the hell are you doing? But it really was not bad at all. And so after that, he was trained and we gave him the other ones and it was no big deal. Now this is a look at the temperature. This is my thermometer. The top number there, minus 21.8. That was the temperature at the time. The minus 30 was the coldest temperature at nighttime. And 42 was the hottest we ever got at summertime. So because it was so cold, the vet opted not to attempt to do the teeth because it's just too darn cold to do that. Their stuff was all freezing. So I actually did the needles myself. And then I just wanted to show you guys that we put the blanket on him while he was tranquilized as well. And this is him sobering up and I'm getting ready to take off the name tag. But I'm going to put that in a different video for you guys. So I want to hear what you guys think, and I hope you found that interesting and somewhat entertaining. All right, thanks, and bye for now.